Hey guys, welcome in here to Rover Sports. Kind of from this location. I like how you go live on YouTube. My friend Jet Central did a tremendous live stream today. I want to congratulate him on all of his work. He went live during the 3 o'clock hour of the NFL trade deadline. I thought that the deadline was very, very quiet. Kelvin Benjamin was not traded. I thought Kelvin Benjamin would have been moved. LaShawn McCoy was not dealt at the trade deadline either. Deshaun Jackson. So there were a lot of guys that ended up staying at their spot. Shane Ray of the Denver Broncos was probably looked to be shopped. The New York Giants, what they ended up doing, I believe that the Giants ended up, they had Janoris Jenkins. The Giants did. The Giants had Janoris Jenkins, and they did not move him. And did I agree with them not trading Janoris Jenkins? I think Janoris Jenkins still has talent, so I kind of like seeing Eli Apple go. Snacks Harrison was a big contract for a run-stopping player. He's good at what he does, but I thought the Giants had a decent trade deadline. And we could talk a little bit about these trades that have transpired. So the way that I look at these two deals, the Golden Tate to the Eagles deal is really good for both sides because you look at Detroit and they have Kenny Golladay. They have, I don't really know who their tight end is, honestly, but they have Kenny Golladay, who's a good receiver, and then Marvin Jones, who's emerged into one of the better receivers in the NFL. So they have him. Golden Tate's going to be 30 years old, and Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia don't want to pay Golden Tate because next year is his contract year. So the Detroit Lions are 3-4. For them to get to the playoffs, they have to go 9-7 and go 6-3 in the final games. They still have to play 2 against the Bears. They have to go to Lambeau Field, to Green Bay, and now they are going to be also playing the Vikings and all these other teams. So the way I look at it, I think that the Detroit Lions did well in the trade. I think the Eagles also got a really good receiver in Golden Tate as well. I think Golden Tate is going to help out the Eagles tremendously. He's a good route runner. He's a good guy. And I think that Golden Tate is going to be good for their locker room. And the Eagles are a win-now team. You know, the Eagles only have to get past the Saints and the Rams. I think the Eagles are going to win the NFC East. They're a team that whenever they're in the playoffs with Carson Wentz and Jim Schwartz in that defense, they're in a position where they're in a win-now mode. So I really like the move for both sides. For the Demaryius Thomas trade, I thought Denver maybe could have gotten more than a 4th-round pick. Totally understand what Denver is doing. They're inserting Courtland Sutton into the role of a wide receiver 1 or a wide receiver 2 with Emmanuel Sanders there. So overall, the DT trade, and it's very good for the Texans that are kind of in a win-now mode as well. Will Fuller gets hurt. Demaryius Thomas isn't the player he once was, and that's why the Broncos only got a 4 for him. But I look at the trade, and it was pretty expected. You know, the Texans are really making a push, and it tells you where the Texans are in the grand scheme of things. Well, King Braz, I mean, I still think the Lions get a 3rd-round pick back. Which is pretty good, a top 75 pick, and the Lions weren't going to re-sign Golden Tate, and Golden Tate for a wide receiver is pretty old. He's 30 years old, and the Lions have Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones, so he's the 3rd best receiver on that team, or he's one of the 3rd best receivers. James, I mean, what didn't you like today from the Giants? I thought the Giants were quiet, but Janoris Jenkins is still a good player, and I didn't really mind the Giants not dealing today at the trade deadline. I will, for the last 5 minutes of the stream, I want to talk a little bit about the Rams. The Rams have earned the right to give them the benefit of the doubt. A 3rd-round pick. The Jaguars did well, getting a 3rd and a 5th back for Dante Fowler today. Dante Fowler ends up going to the LA Rams. I know the Jets were also in talks with Dante Fowler. The Rams give out the best offers. The Rams trades have benefited them. Sue, Aaron Donald, they have the best team in the NFL. They were able to change their franchise around in a matter of a year. Sean McVay, Wade Phillips come in there. Sean McVay is one of the best coaches that the game of football has ever seen. And it's amazing what Les Snead and Sean McVay have done. Incredible aggressiveness that hasn't backfired whatsoever. The Rams are doing fantastic. And I came at the Rams a little bit in the offseason. I didn't expect the Rams to be this good, but they have shut me up, period. So bow down to what the Rams are doing. In terms of other news, just quickly, Clinton Dix goes to the Redskins. I like that move. You pair him with Swearinger and Josh Norman. I think the Redskins did very well in that deal. I also look at Ty Montgomery getting traded to the Ravens. I think the Ravens also did well. He had a bad fumble, but the Ravens can use Montgomery. Overall, it was pretty quiet, though. A lot of the major trades came last week. The Amari Cooper trade was probably the most polarizing trade in the trade deadline. Now let's talk about Kyle Lauletta. Kyle Lauletta, big news today is that he got arrested or questioned by the police. But reviewing the facts, today I was pretty fired up about Kyle Lauletta getting arrested. But overall, it's not that big a deal in the grand scheme of things. It was a traffic violation. Lauletta didn't want to be surrendered down with a ticket. He ended up missing 1 day of practice. Everything is still good to go with Kyle Lauletta starting in San Francisco. I don't think that this is really going to linger at all. It's a minimal traffic stop ticket. The more that you read about it, the more it just, is not that big of a deal. If Kyle Lauletta is not healthy to play, we've seen Eli Manning go 1-7. Maybe you see if Alex Tanney's a quarterback. The thing with Eli Manning last year is I thought Eli Manning under a good coach would be able to turn it around. And I thought Eli still had a year left. And clearly halfway through the year, now I'm all gone with Eli Manning. So Eli is not going to be here next year. The difference between putting in Alex Tanney to Geno Smith is this. Eli Manning, I thought, still had some gas left in the tank. I thought Eli could lead the Giants to the playoffs last year. So that's why I was upset that they put in Geno Smith to be the quarterback. But now Eli Manning's not a part of the plans next year. He's not even capable to take another down with the New York Giants. I'm done with Eli Manning. So now you could put in Alex Tanney if you want to punish Lauletta for a week and see if Alex Tanney can still have a roster spot. And then you make it clear to Eli Manning that he is not starting on this team and that he needs to go find another organization. No, I'd rather put in Alex Tanney than Eli Manning because you need to let the fan base and you need to let people know there's a lot of people that are Eli Manning fans. I'm an Eli Manning fan myself, but you need to start putting the reality in motion that Eli Manning is done. Eli Manning, unfortunately, as hard as it is to say, he doesn't deserve to start. The team is 1-7 right now, and he's 38, and he's looked horrible. And he's been here too long, and this team hasn't made the playoffs in years. So, you either put in Lauletta or Alex Tanney. It's not that big of a deal to Alex Tanney, I'm not saying that Alex Tanney is going to be the guy that's going to be here for a long time, but put in Lauletta. That's what I would do. Nathan, how are you, man? Just doing a little quick live stream here. I like doing these little streams, and also it's easier to do the live streams because then you don't need to do the uploads and everything. And it's fun to hear what these guys have to say to me in these live streams. But I'm fine with Lauletta. I don't think it's a big deal at all. I would still put in Lauletta against the 49ers. James, if they sign Davis Webb, I'd be the happiest man on earth. It sucks that Davis Webb's not getting an opportunity. I want to see Davis Webb play somewhere badly. That would be so much fun. Sam, I'm sorry. Now I'm going to address your question about about Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert, if he was available, I would probably be pretty content with Herbert, although although I'm worried with what I've been seeing the last couple of weeks. He lost to Arizona. He's spotty in terms of his upside. I think Daniel Jones has a higher ceiling because Daniel Jones is a better thrower of the ball, but we don't know if Daniel Jones from Duke is going to be coming out either. So Daniel Jones would be a really good pick at quarterback for the Giants. But I'm not sure there's any good quarterbacks out. And if there are no good quarterbacks out there, then you can choose to go with Lauletta. You can get journeyman. You could pick up like a Bryce Petty. You could pick up a Davis Webb and have like mediocre quarterback play. And then you can prepare for a year where it's stacked with quarterbacks. Because I think Tua, Justin Herbert, 2020 is going to have much better quarterbacks. So Nathan, yeah, I'm afraid that he is staying for senior year. But if he were to come out this year, I would entertain the option. I would continue to study him. He doesn't have as high of an upside as Tua or Daniel Jones. His deep ball is not that good. He's not that good of a deep ball thrower, which is my main concern. When I look at quarterbacks, I like to see if they can throw deep balls. Now, the reason why Herbert's not going to be a complete bust is because Herbert is a tough kid. He's also a quick decision maker. So he's kind of a little bit like Mitchell Trubisky. He's athletic enough to play the position. He makes quick enough decisions. He's tall enough to play the position, but his arm talent throwing it 40, 50 yards down the field is not to the level that is absolutely impeccable. And his release isn't as quick as Jimmy Garoppolo or Tua. So I don't think he's some kind of incredible prodigy. Jared Goff is a good quarterback, but Jared Goff is benefiting from Sean McVay. I believe that Patrick Mahomes is the one guy that has God-given talent, where it's ridiculous how that guy is developed. And watching him at Texas Tech, he had all the raw abilities to make it in the NFL, and he was just groomed in a really special way by Andy Reid, and also the Chiefs made him into somebody that was so special. So, James, I mean, I know that we all want instant gratification, but, you know, going into this year, I thought that the Reese players, like on defense, I thought that they could, you know, carry it over for the New York Giants. Like, I thought that with our defense, we would return to 2016 in terms of our defense. You know, I thought Olivier Vernon, I thought our pass rush would be sensational this year. And I couldn't have been more wrong. I thought a good coach could come in like Pat Shurmur and the Giants could be really competitive. I thought we could beat Jacksonville. I thought we would really beat the Dallas Cowboys with a really good running game. I thought Pat Shurmur would call really good plays. Eli Manning has in some games, Eli's played okay, like the Texans, the Carolina game, the Atlanta game. But the defense has really been really bad. I mean, in Carolina, the defense wasn't that good. Against the Eagles, the defense was dog shit. Against the Texans, the defense is nowhere close to being 2016's defense. So the Giants, they really have a ton of holes. And the chemistry of this team is a mess. And the talent just isn't good. Janoris Jenkins is not as good. Olivier Vernon's been injured the whole season. Snacks Harrison was good at stopping the run, but Landon Collins isn't as effective as he was in 2016. That's just the fact of the matter. 2016 was just somehow a magical year. Jason Pierre-Paul has 8 sacks right now for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's having a career year. So, and then offensively, the play calling hasn't exactly been incredible. The chemistry's been horrible. Eli Manning has shown he's been bad. He didn't take a step up at all. He's taken a step down this year. And Evan Ingram is terrible. Sterling Shepard is doing okay, but nobody seems to be improving. And also you thought that Nate Solder would be very good. He's the highest paid offensive lineman in football, and he is not doing well at all. And then you have Will Hernandez, And I thought Hernandez would be solid year one, and he's not. In pass protect, he's not. He's slow. So maybe when the Colts selected that dude out of Auburn, Braden Smith, and let the Giants take Hernandez, I thought we got a steal. I was ecstatic about Hernandez, and it's not like he's going to be completely terrible, but I look almost at the offensive line. So I'm going to go and address your questions. Oh, look at Dalton Reisner. Big Blue for life. I mean, you do a sensational job of following the draft, and I learn a lot from your comments on here about who to study. So Dalton Reisner, I'll keep a name out for him. Nathan, I mean, the Chicago Bears are that team. You know what's crazy is that the Bears and the Giants are almost in reverse. Like, who would think that the Bears are 4-3 and the Giants are 1-8? You know, it just shows you how great of a coach Matt Nagy is, but it shows you Ryan Pace and how excellent he's done. With selecting James Daniels, who has been sensational. They hit on the guy from Kansas State, the center. Cody Whitehair was really good. He was a guard in college. He's a center now. Bobby Massey, whoever they're trotting out there, Nathan. The Bears have a great offensive line. And the Bears, like, you look at Trubisky, he's not even that good. But you have Tariq Cohen. You have a imaginative play caller. And the Bears are a really good team. And you look at the talent, the Giants, you know, have high caliber, you know, talent, like in terms of money. Nate Solder, Hernandez, Al Ogletree, Janoris Jenkins, Landon Collins, like they have named guys, but the Bears just have a much more cohesive team, a much better coach, and Trubisky is playing decently well. So Jay Eli, I'm excited for the game. I think it'll be a fun game between John Gruden. It's tough because if you're a 49ers fan, you can't really learn a lot this year. Maybe defensively with Robert Saleh, you'll learn more. I mean, to see if DeForest Buckner can keep up play. I haven't really been keeping up as much with the Niners as I probably should have. It's difficult. But the Niners are completely in a situation where they're without their quarterback. So the season's pretty much been off since the second week of the year. And you went into the season with such high expectations, thinking Super Bowl, thinking NFC West, competing with the LA Rams and beating down the Rams, that it's a very hard pill to swallow. And for the 49ers fans, I bet that next year will be very I'm not going to say melancholy, but I'm not going to hype up the 49ers at all because I'm just knocking on wood for a healthy season for Jimmy Garoppolo, and I just want things to go according to script. I think the Niners should trade for Teddy Bridgewater to get insurance so that if disaster strikes next year, they are prepared. So during this offseason, everything should really be kept in check, and I kind of like it because instead of raising our expectations to perfection, the Niners, we're going to play this out in a very matter-of-fact way where we're not going to be looking too far towards the future. We're not going to be puffing out our chests. We're just going to be hoping for content, for Jimmy Garoppolo to be healthy, and that's how I would approach it as a Niner fan. But we'll see. The Niner Empire is going to be excited no matter what. I like it, man. It's awesome. I mean, even Shane Ray. I mean, you look at John Gruden, right? And I love the kid Charles out of Iowa, Josie Jewell. I still like the kid out of Penn State, Deshaun Hamilton. The kid's a great route runner. Emmanuel Sanders is having a really good season. Phillip Lindsay. So John Gruden and Garrett Bowles has shown decent that he could be good. I know he's had some up and down games this year, but John Gruden John Elway, I should say, selected Bradley Chubb. He selected all these players. I think he's doing a decent job as a general manager. There's a ton of talent still on this team. Justin Simmons. There is talent on this roster, and John Elway has addressed it. I don't think John Elway's in jeopardy of losing his job. Now, I prefer the Broncos to be aggressive with their next coaching hire. I'd want to see like an exciting head coach offensively. And I also would like the Broncos to take a risk on a quarterback in the first round somewhere during the draft. For the Broncos, I think that conversation should be had more. I think the Broncos messed up more by not going with Josh Rosen than the Giants by picking Saquon Barkley. Because with the Giants selecting Barkley, the Giants had Eli Manning. He's won 2 championships. He's proven his worth to be a Hall of Fame resume, while Case Keenum's been a career backup in the NFL, and he happened to have 1 decent season with the Vikings. Josh Rosen is a very good prospect, and the Broncos, in their situation, were building with a new head coach, and I felt like Josh Rosen would have been a really good piece for them at number 5. And I also look at Saquon as better than Chubb. So I think the Broncos screwed up by not selecting Josh Rosen. And that's kind of, I don't know, maybe it's hindsight, but looking at Denver now, it's disappointing what Case Keenum and everything was. Nick Bosa for the 49ers. I like Ed Oliver, but again, I haven't really I got to study Bosa more. I'm into that stigma that he's kind of like his brother and that they're very good technique wise, but they might not pop off the page athletically. So we'll see. I mean, the kid has to stay healthy, but if everybody is clamoring him to be good, we'll have to see. I mean, guys, like with the NFL draft and stuff, sometimes there's going to be players like a Jameis Winston, it looks like Marcus Mariota, maybe, that look like they're going to be busts and they're not going to succeed. Markelle Fultz is one of those guys in the NBA. Every single NBA scout said that Markelle Fultz was the definite number 1 pick, and nobody considered Tatum or Donovan Mitchell or Lonzo ahead of Fultz. So with the NFL draft, you need to think with an open mind, and that's what I'm trying to do. From what I've seen of Oliver, he looks like a freaking beast. And if you have Fletcher Cox helped win the Eagles a championship. If the 49ers had not Fletcher Cox, if they had DeForest Buckner in the middle with Ed Oliver, you wouldn't be able to run on them, and they can attack you. Aaron Donald, I think, on a daily basis, I think he is harder to defend than Khalil Mack is. I think Aaron Donald is just impossible because in the middle of the field, if you have a defensive tackle that goes against guards and centers and just is faster than them, that's about the scariest thing ever. Ventura, to answer your question, I am. Because this team is 1-7. Eli is not going to be back next year. I'm going to discuss this more with Entertainer Sports. I'm also going to discuss this more. I'm going to discuss this more on Entertainer Show, and I hope Bad Dog. I hope to talk to Bad Dog about this too. Cop Pizzle, Roan Effect. But yes, I think Eli's time is done now. I've actually been the torchbearer for Eli Manning. After the Eagles game, I said, do not bench Eli, give him a chance. I said, do not bench Eli versus the Falcons. And then I did say a deal to the Entertainer, to the people on YouTube, that if Eli loses versus the Redskins, I'm out on Eli. And that ended up transpiring. So, and the team looked lifeless, and it's time to make a change for sure. Yeah, Sam, I didn't love Sam Darnold. I think Josh Rosen has a chance to be really special. I still don't think Sam Darnold's going to be that special from what I see on the tape. Rosen would be the only guy that maybe. But listen, Saquon Barkley is a great player. And listen, the Giants are going to get a quarterback. So it's that argument of should the Giants have taken Barkley, it might just be for this year until the Giants end up taking a player. I think Brissett is slow as a quarterback. I think that he's a smart player, but I just don't think he is athletic enough to play the quarterback position, unfortunately. and that hurts to say that, but you look at Nick Foles, and he has a great arm like Jacoby Brissett. Brissett has good arm talent, but can Jacoby read defenses quickly? Can he quickly get from one side of the field to the next athletically? Because he's such a big guy that unfortunately I don't think he's in shape enough where he can, where you can slide him out, where you can throw him on the run. And that's what I think is unfortunate. And he lost a lot of games with the Colts. He's not a terrible backup quarterback. James, I'm going to put my email below. So I'm rover-sports@gmail.com. You guys can all try to email me. I'm sure some people will spam it up, but email me if you want to get on the show for sure. It will be fun. I think Oakland. Oakland right now, no players are safe. Amari Cooper's getting dealt. Oakland has no idea. I'm not a Reggie McKenzie guy. I think that there's a lot of confusion with John Gruden. Hell, even John Gruden did not even understand that Amari Cooper was traded. He was amazingly on the practice field, and it's like the warden comes down and takes out the longest yard football team. It's like you're on the damn longest yard. Those Oakland Raider players tonight must be popping champagne because the trade deadline is over. There's so much dysfunction with John Gruden and Reggie McKenzie in Oakland. And I like John Gruden, but Reggie McKenzie to me seems older, seems unsure of himself, and the communication seems very old school, and I don't like the communication at all. So Oakland needs to rebuild, and they are rebuilding. I know I argued with you on Herbert. Thank you. You're on the Tua bandwagon, man. Me too. But I don't know how the Giants are going to pull it off. I don't know about tanking, and that would just be insane to tank for Tua, and there's going to be a lot of bad teams. Great question, Brian. I'll answer this question. And then Ben, I think I'm going to do, I don't want to say what I'm going to do because I'll try to release those videos. I think that the Raiders are going to win the game versus the 49ers. And then I'm going to get to this question from Brian, who might be a Jets fan. He says, who's going to be better in 2 to 5 years? The Giants or the Jets? And that is such a good question. As Marcos enters into the live stream, Marcus Levy, big Eagles fan, congrats on Golden Tate. Honestly, a great player for you guys. I can't lie. Honestly, the Eagles are dangerous still this year. Giants or Jets? Last question, and it's a good one. It's going to require some digging into. It's a great question from Brian. So the Jets. In the next 5 years, the Jets are going to have Sam Darnold at quarterback, who I don't believe in. The Jets defense, though, you have Jamal Adams, Marcus May, Tremaine Johnson, Darren Lee. The defensive line has Terrell Basham. It has Leonard Williams on the interior of that line, who's a decent player. The Jets defense will automatically win them 6 or 7 games a year, 7 or 8. That's how damn good this defense is. They are a linebacker away. Like if they get Josh Allen or Devin White in the draft from Kentucky or LSU, they can pair him with Darren Lee because Avery Williamson is just inconsistent. But even guys like Buster Skrine are good. Even guys like Darryl Roberts, their defense is a B+ defense, and it's just getting better and better. So, but if you look at their offense, you have Crowell, who's old. The offensive line, the interior is not impressive at all. They do have a good tackle in Beachum, who I think has played really well this year. And then Sam Darnold, I don't believe in at all. I think the Jets have a ceiling, especially with Jeremy Bates, who is a very conservative play caller who I do not like. And I think Todd Bowles is on the verge of being fired himself. So it's very unpredictable what I think the Jets will be, but their defense is better than the Giants. They're not going to win Super Bowls or anything, though, unless they nail the coaching hire. If they get a young coach like a John DeFilippo, if they get a college coach like Lincoln Riley, a Sean McVay, that's the only way that they can catapult to the top. But that person is not there, so I don't know. With the Giants, I believe in 2 or 3 years right now, if I had to predict, Pat Shurmur will be fired from the Giants. So I predict that maybe next year, Pat Shurmur will be a disaster for the Giants. So I think for the next 2 years, the Giants are going to suck. You look at the Giants players from Reese, you still have Janoris. Olivier Vernon's just getting older and older. All these expiring contracts. The offensive line not figured out. The Giants, I think, have a higher ceiling than the Jets, but the Jets will be better in the short term for sure. The Giants, again, have to get a new quarterback and a new head coach. So a lot of factors are unknown, but let's go with the New York Jets. It's the safer pick. It's the better defense. I just don't think Sam Darnold has that much talent. He is decent at making decisions, but he is not a big-time thrower of the ball. He cannot hit 20-yard out patterns. He is not as crisp as Josh Rosen. He doesn't throw. He throws. He is just not as good of a passer, in my honest opinion, as Josh Rosen, as Baker Mayfield, as even as Mariota. He is just not that good. I think he's a bottom tier quarterback in the NFL. I think he's a 20th best quarterback. But if Sam progresses, we will see. That hinges on it for sure. I do. Tua is special. Ask anybody. Tua or Daniel Jones. But again, Tua is probably not going to happen. That's kind of a pipe dream. But the Giants then are going to end up, I would select Daniel Jones. I think Jones has talent. But again, that's going to the future. It's all about the arm talent for Sam. Like, he just can't hit a deep. If you can't hit a deep ball, you're automatically going to be pegged a little less in my book. That's why I'm not the biggest Phillip Rivers fan. But again, that's just my opinion. Of course, that could be dead wrong. Drew Lock he has a great deep ball. But unfortunately, he doesn't really do a lot of the game. He doesn't really have that killer instinct leadership-wise. He doesn't do any of the other parts that well. I've really soured on Drew Lock. He performed terrible against Kentucky. Anyway, guys, it's been a lot of fun. I loved recapping the show. I like doing these live streams during the day, during the week. Thank you guys for all staying put here on the show. It's been a lot of fun. Take care, guys. Have a good rest of your night. And I'll probably be on Entertainer Sports later tonight. So take care, guys, and thanks.